Joining me on the show is a former Brentford player, a former Super Eagles player, one who has played at the highest level, Jide Olugbodi. He understands what it takes to play at the highest level when it comes to English Premier League football. Jide, good evening. It's good to have you on the show.
Good evening. It's good to be here as well.
Okay, let's run through it. Quite a handful of matches did catch, the attention of football fans. Let's start with the champions, talking about Manchester City. Erling Haaland, unstoppable. Guardiola did emphasize the need for him to get some rest, and we saw that over the summer. He rested well, didn't participate in the European Championship, and that's probably delivering the goods now. A comeback win against Brentford, 4 games in, 4 wins. What do you make of the performance, and do you think they have what it takes to make it 5 on a row?
Oh, yes, absolutely. If there's any team that you never doubt, it's Manchester City. And if there's a coach that you have to doff your hats for, it's got to be Pep Guardiola. When you look at what he's done in City, what he's achieved so far, to still get the boys to have such hunger, you can see it in the boys this season as well. They're up for it. Haaland has already gotten 9 goals in 4 games. I mean, you said it right. He's got enough rest from the summer feast of football. And, I'm not going to put it past them because they're firing on all cylinders. And to think that they still have a lot of players to come back in, City is the team to watch out for.
Up last season, and this time around, they had to, play against Spurs. Talking about the North London derby, what do you make of the performance of the Gunners, and do you think they have what it takes to go neck to neck with the Citizens this season?
Oh, yes. I mean, Arsenal, they've grown in bounds and leaps. I have to say, even though sometimes I don't like admitting it, they've been fantastic in the recruitment team, and they've gotten a solid team. You can see the back line is more steady now. They showed it during the derby. They've shown it all along last season as well. They're so solid at the back. Midfield is predictable, and up front, even with the addition of Sterling, it's a better Arsenal from last year. They've learned how to suffer through games as well. And I'm not putting this past them. I think they're gonna chase Man City to the end this season. So, watch out, Gunners, they're coming.
That Jide Olugbodi, I would have to have you on standby quickly as we turn our attention now to Maiduguri. That's the capital of Borno State, where the president of the nation, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is in the state rather, to visit, the governor and the people to commiserate with them concerning the devastating floods that has bedeviled the state and the various towns in there over the past few days. And we know quite well that we'll be visiting the Shehu of Borno, as well as other, camps that have housed the internally displaced people, among others. Quickly, I'll be speaking to JC right about now, our correspondent in Borno State. What do you make of the president's visit at this point in time? And what's the latest updates right there? Okay, we'll definitely reconnect with JC and keep you up to tabs with the president's visit to Borno State, where he's currently at to commiserate with the good people of Borno State over the devastating floods they've had over the past few days, which has seen several people displaced and millions of goods and properties destroyed at this point in time. Now it's time to turn our attention back to sports, and Jide Olugbodi is very much with me. Jide, thank you so much for staying tuned. Now let's turn our attention to the Premier League. You were talking about Arsenal and being able to keep tabs with Manchester City in terms of the title race. What do you make of Liverpool's slip against Nottingham Forest? That came as a shocker to so many people. Again, is it the nerves earlier on? Because we saw the first 3 games under Ancelotti. It looked like Liverpool had a seamless transition, you want to say, but this was probably the reality check they needed.
Oh, well, it's always the tricky games after the international break. So a lot of I felt that a lot of Liverpool players were leggy. And, when you come back from international break, you don't have enough time to practice, get yourselves going. So I think fatigue and, a lot of the traveling must have done Liverpool in. It's a blip, but they've got a fantastic team. They've swayed away a little bit from Klopp's style of play. But I think it's a blip, like you said. And hopefully champions the thing that champions have is a quick recovery time. So I hope that they can recover quickly and give us what we've been seeing the first 3 games as well.
Okay, let's wrap up the discussion or look at, those who compete for top four now in terms of our English Premier League review. I don't think the most optimistic Chelsea fan or Manchester United fan is expecting them to compete for the title. You're probably looking at Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool in the mix. But for that top four spots, you have the likes of Spurs, Manchester United, Chelsea in the mix as well. Manchester United, another impressive win this time around away at Southampton. And you have Chelsea nicking it late against Bournemouth by a lone goal. Do you think these two sleeping giants have what it takes to push for European football next season?
Oh, yes. I mean, it takes a couple of games, good momentum as well. I think Chelsea have actually gotten better from last year. They've got good players. They've got a fantastic coach in there as well. And you can see now that finally we're beginning to understand what Chelsea is like. For Manchester United, I think Ten Hag has been there. You've known. I mean, everybody understands what I've been saying the past year, 2 years. I still don't understand, how they play. So maybe when they sort that out, we understand how they play, then we can say, okay, we can start talking about the first four or the top four. Aston Villa is another team you probably left out. They're fantastic. Unai Emery has been doing fantastic there. Newcastle will be amongst the, also rounds as well. So, it's going to be tough. It's the Premiership, so it keeps serving us exciting football. So I don't think this season will be any different. So get your season tickets, fly to London, fly to Manchester. It's going to be a fantastic season, always in the Premiership.
Okay, let's just hope that the teams, keep delivering. It's early days, 4 games in, but remember, it's not a sprint, it is a marathon, and every point counts. 4 more games to go. The English Premier League title race heating up nicely as Manchester City are in firm control at this point in time. Now, let's talk about Manchester City and their woes. On the field of play, they have no problems. They are doing the job, getting it done. But off it, there are several issues to contend with from injury woes, but the biggest of them has to be what has been dubbed as the trial of the century. Finally, the hearing has begun, talking about the breaches into the financial rules of the Premier League and 115 charges. We know the likes of Everton and Nottingham Forest faced lesser charges and had to suffer points deduction last season. I want to get your thoughts concerning this, Jide. I mean, you're in London. The hearing is taking place in London at the International Dispute Center right there in London. And a whole lot has gone into for and against in terms of, the divisions for this debate or this hearing, as it were. What do you think about the whole, issue in terms of what the charges are and the chances of, getting a slap on the wrist or at the most, getting off the books? Manchester City have denied these claims over and over again. What do you make of it now that the hearing has begun?
Well, so a wise man once said to me that money has legs, and money can't get lost. So if there's financial impropriety somewhere, it will be found out. When the digital age, when at the top of a button you can access files, transfers, everything. And I'm just thinking, Manchester City, they've been there. Let's not knock the sporting achievements as well. But if it is true that they violated the rules, the fair rules, the rules of fair play, then they should be sanctioned, just like any other team. But in the end, they always say when you're at the top, everybody tries to knock you off. If they can't knock you off on the pitch in football, they try to knock you off in the boardroom or wherever. So, and, I hope they have their lawyers, they have their case, and I hope for the sake of football, there won't be points deduction. There won't be things that would take us away from the football pitch. So I believe that champions should be decided on the pitch and not in the boardroom. But again, we'll wait and see what the things that come up in the next few days, weeks as well. And there will be appeals, obviously, as you know. So let's just sit back, relax, and watch that.
Okay, we'll just leave it at this. Remember, the trial has begun, and we'll let the lawyers argue the case out, and let's see what the decision will be. The hearing is expected to last for 10 weeks, and I'm sure by 2025, when a final verdict would be issued out, I'm sure Manchester City will be ready to appeal or the Premier League will be ready to appeal, depending on how the ruling goes. But Jide, I think we should just keep our fingers crossed. As you said, it's always good to have a champions emerge from the field of play as against, boardroom decisions and what have you. Thank you so much, Jide Olugbodi, former Brentford player, former Super Eagles player, for your time on the show this evening.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.